All right, where are we? We are on a dirt road about 7 kilometers southwest of San Gimignano. I read in a book that if you hike for about an hour on this road, you'll come across a saddle, come up through the saddle over the bend, and you'll come to an ancient abandoned city called Castelvecchio. Castelvecchio apparently was abandoned about 800 years ago, 700 years ago during the Black Plague, and all the residents fled and went to San Gimignano. So Castelvecchio is your equivalent of a ghost town, but apparently the ruins are still extremely well intact, and it should be well worth our time to go and see. Hey, there's a sign, Castelvecchio. So I'll see you again in about an hour, and hopefully we'll have some ruins to see. Ciao. All right, we're rolling. I am so close. I don't think it took quite an hour, but I want to show you. This is the first ruin I get to see. And this is supposed to be the Tower Keep. Here's a questionable bridge to walk across. Alright, just go for it. Man, look at that. This must have been something they really used. Not this piece of wood, but something similar. Okay. Success. And here we are. Man, imagine when that was built. They must have thought this place would last forever. And these are the gates, apparently. One of them. And the story goes that the gates, or the guards, you can see little peepholes here. The guards to Castelvecchio, you know, they did the smart things during the bubonic plague. You know, they say, you know, over half of Europe was wiped out through the plague, but you know, they weren't dumb. They cordoned off most of the cities and most of the little towns like this. So what they did was they said, okay, nobody can leave, you know, so we don't spread the infection. And it was up to every province and every mayor and every governor to do that sort of thing. This is really cool. And so I guess one night, somewhere in the 1400s, I don't have the exact years of the bubonic plague memorized, they snuck out past the guards at night, and they all went to San Gimignano. The next day, the guards, they found nobody. I'm not an archaeologist, but you can just imagine people living here. Must have been hard to say goodbye. And what's more, I guess nobody really came back for 500 years other than, you know, woodsmen chopping down trees and this and that. But there was no real effort to preserve it or document it until like 1979. A group of Italians got together and said, hey, let's do something about this place. So they worked all the way up to 1996 to mark the trailhead, manage it, control it, regulate it, and now we have Castelvecchio. There's supposed to be a church here. I want to find it. Oh wow, I've heard of this. It's a millstone. Yeah, I read about this. That's the actual stone they used and the place they used it to grind up everything from olives to wheat, like flour. This place really operated one day. Alright, we'll see you in a second whenever we find the church. Okay, that wasn't too far at all. This is the church. This is where people prayed, where priests said mass, where people gave confessions, maybe their last confession, having probably most of the population here died out from the bubonic plague, the Black Plague. So this is where they worship. You can see the brick up at the top is the shape of a cross, the opening. There might have been some glass in there, maybe some sculptures. Usually sit on top of these little beams. You know, we Catholics, we make use of everything. But I cannot go in, at least I can't walk in. You can see a really old altar right there. They say there's pieces of fresco I can see still hanging, and sure enough, behind the altar. I'll drop a drone in and we'll get some better view. You can see the pieces of fresco still on the wall there. Yeah, okay. Really cool stuff. Somber. I'll say a prayer while I'm here.
With pre-Roman roots, Castelvecchio was likely born of the Etruscans as Castrum Vetus, as it appears in the extant documents emerging from the post-Lombard invasions and from the diocese of Volterra, which is a short distance away. It is settled on the Via Francigena, or the Way from France, which is the ancient world's most famous pilgrimage route to Rome. In 1213, San Gimignano came into conflict with Volterra, deploying a strong military contingent to Castelvecchio, which was located on the border between the two towns. The conflict lasted almost 100 years until the commune of San Gimignano was given the settlement in an arbitration. Castelvecchio began its decline in the 14th century with weakening influence and outbreaks of plague, and by October 1485, Castelvecchio was one of the epicenters of the spread of plague that had been isolated to public interest without the possibility of entry or exit from the settlement. Now please enjoy Castelvecchio.